going.
What was this day like for women? What was this day like for people in the underclass? What was this day like for Native Americans? What was...
Michelle Foreman teaches a senior history class at Middlebury Union High School in Vermont. A staunch supporter of the standards, she's one of the 300 teachers and historians who helped write them.
If these were written by elite, well, here I am, a high school teacher in Middlebury, Vermont, and others like me across the country. Those are our words in those books. If we teach only one side of history, if we teach kids only that there are things in our past we should be proud of, teenagers are too smart for that.
The whole thing takes on a tone of here's what's wrong with American society.
Dave Bettini teaches 10th grade world history in Caro Durham High School in upstate New York.
Well, one of my complaints, for example, with the textbooks we have, is that every chapter has its obligatory paragraphs on women, whether or not there was anything worthwhile to talk about or not.
Bettini, who also took part in the writing of the standards, says that there was a politically correct drift to the proceedings.
It's in sync with the liberal elite in the academy. People even laughed at times when someone suggested that it should go before a Rotary Club and see if they liked it.
Politically correct? Politically radioactive is also accurate. Democrats and Republicans alike are racing to disown these standards.
I hate to tell you, you don't have any friends that I can find. The Senate voted 99 to, well, maybe 1.
Well, that person didn't like them either.
Professor Nash is a bit bloodied, but still unbowed. The champion of social history, the life and times of ordinary men and women, like the midnight ride of Sybill Ludington. Sybill who?
So there were 2 rides made to tell the countryside that the British were coming. 2 people were galloping through the night on their horses. One was male and one was female. Why have we learned only about one in history books?
Why?
Because history is written mainly from a male point of view.
I'm perfectly happy to have Sybill Ludington in here, but she shouldn't be in here instead of Paul Revere.
For Lynn Cheney, the national history standards are just one small front in a great cultural war being fought in this country. On one side, her side, the truth, as in the title of her new book.
I don't think that it has ever been the case that you had so many members of intellectual elites in this country saying that objectivity is impossible, should not be a goal we try for, and the truth doesn't exist.
Intellectual elite, you mean liberals?
Often that's the case.
I mean, you're a member of a think tank, aren't you, an intellectual elite?
Yes, but I'm a minority.
I'm in Washington. The Republicans run this town. How can you call yourself a minority?
Well, I'm a minority among people who talk about how history should be taught in the academy.
Minority? It might be hard to fill a taxi cab in Washington today with defenders of the national standards. But the fact is that historians, now or later, always have the last word.
What you call the lollipop history, that's the part that makes small children proud to wave a flag on the 4th of July.
I think real patriotism is based on an understanding of our complex and bittersweet past. That's a real patriot who understands mistakes overcome. The Ku Klux Klan is a grim story, but the Klan overcome is a glorious story.
Last week, an independent panel of educators recommended revising the standards, placing more emphasis on America's opportunities. Even before the panel's recommendations were released, Professor Nash told us he welcomed the review. He now says he'll use the panel's report to improve the standards. Opponents, including Lynn Cheney, say they'd still prefer to do away with the standards completely.